All right, shalom to the elect of Israel. All praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKakodash. And what I said was all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, who is the Heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly calls God. In the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, who is the Messiah, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus. In the name of the Holy Spirit, which in Hebrew is Rachal Rachal meaning spirit and Kodash meaning holy. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect of Israel. And this lesson is going into Ecclesiasticus, not Ecclesiastes, but Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, the second chapter, which is in the Apocrypha, right? And this is a very, very crucial chapter to know for newcomers to the faith, because people normally think when you come to serve the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, your life is going to be glitz and glamour, everything is going to go your way, and that's just the exact opposite. All right, and this chapter tells you, about it, man. And also tells you to trust in the Lord, okay, and endure, as you see here on the screen. All right. So without further ado, because Satan has been trying. Oh, by the way, this is another milk series. This is another milk lesson. Okay. If you're new and you would like to see the other lessons I did regarding the different milk topics, you can just click on my channel, go to playlists, right, where it'll say milk, and then you look for where it says milk topics, and you could learn to be edified there, as well as other like-minded brothers and GMS have done lessons across YouTube, so you can be edified there as well. Okay, but let me go ahead and start, because it's like every time I try to do this lesson, Satan always like interrupting all the time. So without further ado, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, the second chapter, starting at verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, which we do, right, and you come into the truth to serve Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. Now, what does temptation mean? Because you have to understand this. All right. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 13. It says, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Right? Now, when you look at this word temptation here, okay, as our apostles and elders of Great Millstone tell us to look up words, all right, to get a better understanding. Okay? And you have to go into the Greek, you have to go into the Hebrew, all right? To get a true meaning of what a word is, of what something is being talked about. Now, temptation, getting right to the point, it says adversity, affliction, trouble, sent by the Most High and serving to test or prove one's character, faith, holiness. So, as the scripture said, when you come to serve Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, you have to be ready for temptation, which is basically tests, trials, right, in the form of tribulation, troubles. Okay, like Salaki, that that are sent by Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to test your faith, all right, to see if you're going to endure. And the thing is, when you go through it and come out of it, as our apostles here at Great Millstone tell you that, all right, you can look it up on etymology online. Endure means to make hard. It hardens you. And everything that we go through, okay, the different trials and tribulations, prepare us for the time of Jacob's trouble, which were, different trials and tribulations we're going to face in Jacob's trouble. You see? So, as it says, Sirach 2:1, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Prepare yourself. When you come to serve Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, prepare yourself to go through trials and tribulations that will test your character and faith when you come in this truth. Okay, and that could be like what? Money troubles, financial troubles, woman troubles, bodily troubles, bodily afflictions, housing afflictions, etc. Children afflictions, you name it. All right. As the scripture says, let me get this, 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. It says, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to men. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Right? So the Lord is not going to put more on you than you can handle. He knows how much tribulation that you can take. Okay, so he's not going to, allow you to be troubled more than what you can bear. So endure, right? Let me get this. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 34, right? And verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. Okay? So understand, when you come into this truth, your life is not going to, as these Christian pastors try to teach you, that everything is going to be prosperous and your life is going to go well. You're going to succeed in each and every area. No. No. You are going to go through trials and tribulations. Ask yourself, when Yahushua was on the scene doing his ministry, was his life easy? Hell no. His life was hard. That he had to suffer. Okay? So if he suffered, how much more us? This is the book of Acts. So understand that when you come to serve Yahweh B'Hashim Yahushua, you're going to go through things. As Yahushua said, Matthew chapter 7, right? No, Slaki, this is Mark. The book of Matthew, 7th chapter, all right? And starting at verse 13, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few, which is the elect, there be that find it. Right? So the straight gate is basically a path of difficulty, which is what you take, is what you walk down when you come into this truth. Okay? Because that word straight is not spelled like straight as in a straight line. It's S-T-R-A-I-T. Right? And it says narrow, straight. When you look it up further, right? It says, one, a channel, but two, a bad or difficult situation, a sorry condition, difficulty, trouble, crisis, a mess, a predicament, a plight. See? So there you go. That's what it's talking about. When you come into this truth, you're going to have to go through the straight gate. We're going to have to experience troubles. Let me get this, the book of Acts, chapter 14 and verse 22. Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them, which means encouraging them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh B'Hashim Yahushai. Okay? NLT, where they strengthen the believers, they encourage them to continue in the faith, reminding them that we must suffer many hardships to enter the kingdom of Yahweh B'Hashim Yahushai. So before we get to the kingdom, all right, in order to get to the kingdom, we're going to have to go through some trials and tribulations. All right? And these scriptures are here to comfort you in your mind, okay, and reflect back on and be comforted with, okay, to help you understand what you're going through. Romans chapter 8, starting at verse 17, and if children, then heirs of Yahweh, and joint heirs with Hamashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. See? Verse 18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time, the different sufferings we go through, are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. All right? Sufferings we go through now, whatever, because every brother has his own different set of trials and tribulations, but whatever, for each of us, whatever, trials and tribulations we face is nothing compared to the glory which we're going to get when Yahushua returns. Always remember that. So therefore, endure no matter what. And also understand that too, when you come to serve Yahweh B'Hashim Yahushua, man, it's a serious thing, because these higher ups, these elites, okay, they know about us, the Hebrew Israelites, and at a point in time, they're going to come after us, okay, and some of the elect are going to have to get put to death for this truth. So understand that when you come to serve Yahweh B'Hashim Yahushua, right, you have to be willing to die. You have to be willing to die for this truth, okay? You have to be willing to get put to death if that's the case, because for some brothers, it's going to be that. Okay, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 10. So the tribulation, the temptations is going to last all the way then. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, the so-called white man, Esau, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. So this devil is going to take some brothers into concentration camps, FEMA buildings, different government buildings, etc. And he says, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful. And the 10 days is any amount of time. All right. If the Lord sees fit for you to be in there. Okay. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So you have to hold on to this truth to death. As Yahweh Shai said, this is the name of the game right here, Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Okay? And the end is when Yahweh Shai comes back. You have to hold on to your faith all the way till then. All right? You know, your faith is the most valuable possession, not your own life. You know, not your own, not your family, not your money, not your job. All right? This faith, man. So hold on to it, even to the point of death. Okay? Endure to the end. Wherever it may take you, man, endure to the end. Verse 12. So back in Sirach 2:2. Never give up, man. Never give up. All right? As Apostle Paul said, therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. 2 Timothy 2:3. It says, set thy heart aright. Heart means mind. Right? When you're going through tribulations, carry the right frame of mind. Be positive. Okay? And we have these scriptures here to help you be positive as well. First Maccabees 12:9, which these scriptures should comfort you. They should be playing in your head. First Maccabees 12:9. Therefore we also, albeit we need none of these things, that we have the holy books of scripture in our hands to comfort us. See? And you, like I said, to the point of death, like, just understand that when you come into this truth, because it's important you understand this, because people will come into the truth, not expect this, and then fall out. When you come into the truth, you have to understand and accept and continue in the faith, but knowing that there is a possibility that you can be put to death for this truth. And you have to be willing, okay, if it comes down to it, holding on to the faith. All right? Because if, say, you fall out, you're going to, you're not getting on a chariot. You're not going to get salvation. All right? And if you turn back from the truth, if you don't get into the truth, the Lord's going to destroy you. Okay? But if you do, in the end, you receive salvation. You're on a chariot when Yahweh Shai comes back, man, going into the kingdom. All right? So don't let these tribulations stop you. So Sirach 2:2. Again, it says, set thy heart aright. Heart in the Hebrew is lab, which means mind. When you're going through tribulations, be positive. It says, and constantly endure. It doesn't just say once. It says constantly, showing you that there's going to be many, as I said, many are the afflictions of the righteous. There's always going to be something. All right? And remember, as Yahweh Shai was tempted in the devil, Sirach tempted in the wilderness of Satan. Okay, the Lord lets it up for a season, and then, I'm going to just read it. Luke chapter 4. In verse 13, it says, and when the devil had ended all the temptation, when Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, had ended all the temptation, he departed from him for a season. So the thing is, so just like how, when Yahweh Shai was in the wilderness getting tempted by Satan, he was going through that, okay? So Yahweh Shai, look, Satan had came and tempted him. He was, trials and things were sent upon him. He was going through it, okay? And he was hungered, right? But after a little while, the Lord let it up. So when you're going through these tribulations, all right, the Lord understands balance. All right, the Lord is a balanced God, It won't be just like every legit second of your life. No, the Lord will allow the tribulations to come and then let up. But then they come back and then they let up. The only time they're going to stop forever is when we get delivered, okay? But this is all building you up, man, okay? So don't faint. Don't be weary. Don't fall out. It says, and make not haste in time of trouble, okay? Don't panic. Just be patient, wait, use the wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Verse 3, cleave unto him, unto who? Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. What does this mean? Don't fall out whatsoever. Cleave unto him. Cleave to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Don't fall out. No matter what happens to you in life, don't. Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. So whatever, because when you up, when everything's going good, of course you're going to take it cheerfully. But when you're going through trials and tribulations, that's a different spirit, to take it cheerfully. Try to, okay? Try to take it cheerfully. Even though it hurts like hell, you're going to have to take it cheerfully, man. Try to take it cheerfully. It says, and be patient. This helped me out a lot. And be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. All right? And a low estate means condition. A high condition is when, everything is going well in life. Prosperity, all right? But a lower state is when you're catching tribulation, when you catching trouble. So when you going through trouble, like I said, it could be anything: financial troubles, housing, etc., clothing, shelter. When you're going through that low condition, you have to be patient and wait for the Lord to get you up out of it, because He's the one, as brothers told me, when I was first coming into the truth, they said the Lord is the one that got you in it, and He's the only one that could get you out of it. And that is so true. And be patient. So you have to be patient when you're going through trials and tribulations. Of course, you want to hurry up and get through it quick and get out of it, right? But as it says, be patient, right? Wait for the Lord. Be patient. Hold on to the faith. Endure it. Wait for the Lord to get you up out of it, to work your situation out and get you out of that low condition. Because all of these trials and tribulations come from Him, all right? These Christians will have you think it comes from the spiritual demon Satan. But this is Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 11, verse 14. Prosperity, which is when you succeeding in life, everything is going your way. And adversity, which is when you catching troubles. Life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. Okay? It's as simple as that. Ecclesiasticus 2 and 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So when we go through these tribulations, it's like it unto going through fire. All right? And you're tested. If you're going to, and when you put gold through fire, all right, only real gold is going to endure that fire and come out of it and be all polished. But if it's not otherwise than that, if it's not true, not real, it's going to break. So likewise with us, when we go through these tribulations, it's like going through fire. The Lord wants to see if you're really one of, His soldiers, basically. Okay? So remember that. Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. And all of the elect are going to get tried. All of the elect. And they're the acceptable men. All right? Verse 6, it says, believe in Him, and Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and He will help thee. Order thy way right, and trust in Him. Okay? This means have faith and trust in the Lord, and He will help you. Okay? When you're going through trials and tribulations, trust in Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man. It says, ye that fear the Lord, wait for His mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Yeah. When we going through trials and tribulations and stuff, we have to wait on the Lord, man, to help us out, to get us out of it. What can you do? Acting on your flesh, panic and making haste, acting on your flesh, impulses and all that to try and get yourself up out of it, you're going to more than likely dig yourself into a deeper hole. Okay? You're doing something rash, Be patient, wait on the Lord, man. All right? And ultimately, this, even for salvation, it says, wait for His mercy. Wait for the Lord to return as well and get us up out of this low condition, ultimately. All right? Verse 8, ye that fear the Lord, believe Him, and your reward shall not fail. Okay? Those that believe and fear the Lord, their reward won't fail. And the reward includes being protected, fed, all of that. And ultimately salvation. Verse 9, ye that fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old. Listen closely. Sirach 2 and 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in His fear and was forsaken? Or whom did He ever despise that called upon Him? So what it's saying is, if you look at the generations of old, look at the accounts of old in the Bible, of the men of the Lord, when they were in need. For example, Apostle Paul, Peter when he went to prison, Samson, King David, all right, so on and so forth. Okay, and even look at our people when they were in the wilderness, right? Times where men of the Lord, all right, were in need. All right, Daniel, Bel and the dragon, okay? You're gonna find out that those that trusted in the Lord, did the Lord ever forsake them? No, He helped them. He answered them. He was there for them. So likewise, when you're going through tribulations, call upon Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai and believe that He's going to help you. Because as Yahweh Shai said, right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 7, in verse 7 through 8. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. So when you pray, just ask the Lord. Okay, ask the Lord for what you need. as well as let me just get this. Salakia. Bear with me just 1 second here. I try to find this. All right. This is the book of, it's in Matthew. Yes. Matthew. Let me see. Salakia. Just bear with me just 1 second here. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 22. It says, in all things, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. So when you pray to the Lord, you have to believe, which is faith, that you're going to get what you received, or get what you asked for. James chapter 1 and verse 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. Now let me start. Right? For let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. So even when it comes to, enduring in the faith, okay? When you pray to the Lord and everything to get you up out of it, right? You have to believe it, okay? And understand that the Lord is, he's putting you through these things, okay? He's putting you through these things and making you stronger, all right? Remember Job. Job went through hell and the Lord got him up out of it. He's the one who put him in it. He's the one who got him out of it. So Sirach 2:11, for the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins and saveth in time of affliction. You see that? So let this comfort your soul, man. Let this comfort and ease your mind. Even when you're going through the worst of tribulations, let this comfort and ease your mind. Okay? Let these scriptures, especially this right here, because this chapter is a great chapter. Once again, one for every newcomer into the faith. Let this ease your mind, man. Okay? Trust in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. He put you through it. He put you through the tribulation. All right? And he's the only one that can get you out of it. Trust in him. Ask him to save you and deliver you out of this thing. And be patient. Okay? Let your endurance build up. All right? Sirach 2:12. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and a sinner that goeth two ways. All right? And don't be afraid. Trust in the Lord. Fear Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. So you got to believe. I remember hearing the brother Amawan Gabar say, when all hell breaks loose, look, man, you're just going to have to trust in the Lord, The Lord wants you to trust in him. If not, it says, therefore shall he not be defended. You want to be defended, so when all hell breaking loose out here, hey, trust in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Okay, don't lack faith. Okay? Verse 14, woe unto you that have lost patience. This is to the fallouts. Woe unto them. Woe means death and destruction. Okay? When you see these woe here, woe unto him that is faint-hearted, death and destruction to him that is faint-hearted. Woe unto you, death and destruction unto you that have lost patience, unto those that fell out. It says, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? Nothing. Verse 15, they that fear so don't fall out. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. That's plain and simple. Do what's righteous. Verse 16, they that fear the Lord will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law. So those that fear Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, they're going to be seeking, what's pleasing to him. Okay? They're going to be doing all of those things. All right? The scriptures say, turn away from faith that was pleasing to the Lord. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. Yeah, Sirach 35:3. To depart from wickedness is a thing pleasing to the Lord, and to forsake unrighteousness is a propitiation. Okay? This is one of the things. Okay? Verse 17, they that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. Okay? So, brothers, remember, look, man, we come into this faith, understand you're going to go through trials and tribulations, but trust in the Lord and constantly endure, man, and keep these scriptures playing in your head. All right, it's not going to be a cakewalk, but it's not going to last forever. All right, so hold on to the faith, man. Endure. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect of Israel.